Today, we're diving straight into the 2026 reality of Celebration, Florida. We are going to strip away the postcard image, the perfect porches and that famous manufactured snow, to reveal the hard numbers and the billion-dollar catalysts that are permanently reshaping this market. If you want to really understand the true investment mechanics behind America's most famous planned community, you are absolutely in the right place.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the Disney origin story. Second, lifestyle and market numbers. Third, choosing your neighborhood. Fourth, the scarcity effect. And finally, number 5, the HOA reality check.
All right, Section 1, the Disney origin story. This really grounds us in how a $2.5 billion bet on 4,900 acres of Osceola County swampland became literally the most intentional neighborhood in America. Because honestly, you can't understand the price tags here today without understanding exactly what this place was engineered to be from day one.
Former Disney CEO Michael Eisner threw down a massive challenge when he said, "Make history. Develop a town worthy of the Disney brand and legacy that extends to Walt Disney's vision of an experimental prototype community of tomorrow." That quote brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of ambition behind Celebration. He didn't just want a typical subdivision, he demanded world-class architecture. He brought in Treehouse Prize-winning architects to create this new urbanist utopia that drew from America's best small-town traditions. They engineered a community where the hospital, the post office, and even the street signs were meticulously crafted by industry legends.
And this incredible ambition unfolded really rapidly. It started with a 1987 New Urbanist pattern book, and the ground was officially broken in 1994. By the time the first residents moved in during 1996, demand had exploded so fast that Disney actually had to hold a lottery just for the right to buy a home. Now, Disney did divest its commercial holdings in 2004, though they still have a major corporate presence. But the key milestone for us is 2021. That's the start of Island Village, which marks the absolute final chapter of residential development.
Moving on to Section 2, lifestyle and market numbers. Let's pivot away from the history of soapflake snow on Market Street, the 26 miles of trails, and those daily deer and alligator sightings. We need to jump directly into the hard data that defines the 2026 market.
Okay, the absolute crucial number you need to know is $346 per square foot. That's the median price across all property types in the community. It's a massive premium over surrounding areas. And what's driving it? Well, it's an incredible 97% list-to-sale ratio combined with a huge influx of remote workers. They're flocking here for that highly walkable golf cart lifestyle where you could literally cruise to Publix or the local coffee shop without ever having to touch a highway.
But what's truly staggering is the velocity of these sales. Homes in Celebration spend an average of just 34 days on the market. Compare that to the 51-day average across the state of Florida. People who buy here tend to stay here, and the moment a property opens up, that pent-up demand just snaps it right off the market.
When you put Celebration side by side with other local markets, the premium becomes undeniable. At a $600,000 median price, Celebration commands that $346 per square foot. That is roughly 55 to 75% more than nearby Kissimmee, which is sitting at just $195. Even compared to upscale Windermere at $290, Celebration holds a distinct premium. But the real secret weapon here is the supply outlook. Celebration is fixed. There is no new land to develop.
Realtor Stacy Stevens really hits the nail on the head in her 2026 guide. She says, "You're paying a meaningful premium over Osceola County for the Disney prestige and the built-in infrastructure. That's the trade. And for the right buyer, it's a fair one. That premium is very real, and it buys a highly specific lifestyle. Which leads us perfectly into the different neighborhood options you actually have to choose from. Section 3, choosing your neighborhood. Now, Celebration isn't just one big monolith. It's actually made up of 7 distinct villages, each with its own unique personality. But the biggest decision buyers face today boils down to a classic real estate dilemma. Do you want historic charm, or do you want a brand new build? This is the exact trade-off. On one hand, the original village gives you that high-priced nostalgia. You get the iconic porches and unbeatable walkability to downtown Market Street. But keep in mind, those homes are pushing 30 years old and might need updates. On the other hand, Island Village offers modern efficiency. You get brand new construction and a brand new on-site K-5 school. But you do trade away the larger lots and that immediate step-out-your-door walkability to the town center.
Now, a quick but critical warning for investors. If you're looking at condos, say around that $385,000 median entry point, you absolutely must be aware of the Florida SB 4D law. Passed after the Surfside collapse, this law requires milestone structural inspections and fully funded reserves for condos in buildings 3 stories or higher that are 30 years or older. Since many of Celebration's original condo buildings are hitting that 30-year mark right now, you have to demand full milestone inspection reports and thoroughly check the reserve fund status before making any offers. Surprise special assessments can completely wreck your ROI if you're not careful.
Section 4. The scarcity effect. This is where the 2026 market gets truly fascinating. We are watching an incredible narrative tension build as a permanently sealed border collides with $3 billion developments springing up right next door.
Just think about the gravity of what is happening around Celebration right now. First, you have Ovation Orlando opening in 2027. This is a $1 billion entertainment district with 740 hotel rooms being built right across I-4. Then you have Magnifica. That's another $1 billion ultra-luxury neighbor featuring 14,000 square foot estates and a resident helipad. All of this massive external demand is hitting at the exact moment the final phase of Celebration's own Island Village sells out. Which brings us to this incredibly important number: 0. When that final Island Village home is sold by Matami Homes, that is the exact amount of buildable land left inside Celebration's census boundary. 0. There are no new phases. There are no annexations. The border is permanently, unequivocally locked.
Unlike other Florida markets that just keep building further and further west whenever demand spikes, Celebration is a finite community. Fixed supply plus accelerating demand equals a permanent structural advantage. It's the exact same economic principle that drives Manhattan real estate. Once the new construction stops, the only way in is to buy from someone who is leaving. And the catch? In Celebration, people rarely leave.
Section 5. The HOA reality check. Finally, we need to talk about the mechanism that actually keeps all these property values so robust. It's the very thing that protects your investment, but honestly, it's also the biggest shock for new buyers: the Homeowners Association.
The Celebration Residential Owners Association, or COA, dictates almost everything visible from the street. They will review your outdoor ceiling fans. They will review your doorbell. You absolutely cannot just paint your house on a Tuesday because you felt inspired, and you certainly cannot let your lawn slip for a season. It is intense, but this rigorous enforcement is exactly why the community retains its massive premium. You have guaranteed value retention because your neighbor's house will never drag down your property value. However, if you want total visual privacy and the freedom to do whatever you want with your yard, this market is simply not for you.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. As the billion-dollar catalysts of Ovation and Magnifica arrive, and as the borders of Celebration seal shut forever with the completion of Island Village, what happens to an infinite demand market when the land supply permanently hits 0? The numbers tell a compelling story, but the true underlying value of Celebration might just be that they quite literally aren't making any more of it. Thanks so much for joining us on this explainer, and we will see you next time.